Hello, everyone. Welcome to CXO Spice. CXO Spice is a platform for thought leaders to share their point of view on innovation and explain how to make it happen in real world. Today's topic is revolutionizing integration with generative AI from a CEO perspective. Our special guest today is Sanjay Brahmawar, CEO at Software AG. Hello, Sanjay. Welcome to CXO Spice.
Hi, Helen. Thank you very much for having me.
It's such an honor to have you. So tell us more about your path to becoming the CEO of Software AG and what challenges and opportunities excite you the most for the company.
Hey, well, listen, I'm born in India. I'm Belgian by my nationality. I come from a family, a military family with lots of fighter pilots. So I'm the odd one out. But actually, I'm an engineer at heart with, a finance MBA degree. But I worked with IBM for about 16 years before coming to Software AG. And one of the last roles I was doing at IBM was heavily involved with Watson. So I had already started my journey into AI and thinking about cognitive as I came into Software AG. And of course, for the last 4 years, I've been serving as the CEO of Software AG. And, and what you said is what kind of excites me and what are the challenges? I would say what really excites me today is, we're living in a world where there is so much of data that we're creating on a daily basis. And there's so much that we have already created. But we're in that place now where technology can allow us to really integrate that data. It's actually what we do for a living, Software AG. But also we're getting now great capabilities like Gen AI, that allows us to really tap into all of this data to turn this data into value. And that's what really excites me because we can help companies and businesses leverage this to transform and to create competitive edge. And then possibly, I think the challenge, I guess, is still around the cultural side, Helen. I feel, not only our own organization, but most organizations that I interact with, the ways of working are still quite far behind from a perspective of being able to tap into the power and the capabilities. So I think that's a challenge that we have to continuously work. We in Software AG keep working on how do we make ourselves more agile, more customer, tight and oriented so that we can deliver innovation faster and create more value, be relevant. So I think that's the challenge still we have today.
Well, I cannot think of anyone better than you, Sanjay, to talk about generative AI, right? The ChatGPT took us by storm. Well, generative AI really just became top mainstream news recently, but you've been working with AI for more than a decade already, right? Speaking of your experience with IBM Watson and now at Software AG, how have you seen the way business leaders view on AI change over the years? And it has gone from IT specific to a business line item now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Helen. Look, I've been around this for some time, and the thing is that AI has been around for a long time. Honestly, we've been working on AI, and we've been kind of developing and experimenting and exposing ourselves and our data to AI, and it just takes time. I think if you think about it, there's always this hype phase, and then it goes down again. People get disappointed, and then really technology becomes accessible, more feasible, can be applied more. I think we're coming to that phase where AI, Gen AI is more accessible. It's more real. The use cases are mature. It's not only some big tech project or, where the CIO or the IT people are working. What's changed? I feel that now as I interact with, CEOs and other CXOs is actually it's gone from IT running the data projects to business getting heavily involved. And why is that? It's because business leaders are realizing, that Gen AI can help them really tap into the data that they have. And Gen AI can give them a easy, let's say an easier interface, a way to be able to really ask questions onto vast pools of data, data that are probably in different locations, different sources. They're not harmonized. But you can ask those questions and you can get information back, and that information can allow their businesses to make more decisions, faster decisions, more informed decisions. And I think that's what's different, Helen, today. That I think is the big change.
Yeah, I share your observation, Sanjay. I mean, kudos, right, to companies like innovators like Software AG, because you're out there creating this digital backbone, integrating applications, devices, data, and clouds for streamlined processes and connectivity. That makes make it very easy, much easier for business owners or leaders today to get their hands on technology. So thank you for making that happen. So could you give us some examples of industries and sectors that have successfully integrated generative AI into the business processes today? And what are the key benefits you have seen?
Yeah. And Helen, just to your previous point, just a comment on that, because I think what's really interesting is I spend a lot of time talking to CEOs on a weekly basis, and we always talk about the excitement around Gen AI. And I tell you, the conversation lasts for about 5 minutes on how exciting Gen AI is. And then it quickly shifts to the CEO telling me, Sanjay, but unfortunately, the problem is I've got data set all over the place. I can't access my data. How do I bring it? How do I feed it into my cloud data warehouse, Snowflake, Databricks? And you see, the reality today in most organizations they're all hybrid. They all have disparate architectures. So I think there's a lot of work to be done in organizations to tap into the power of Gen AI. Just that point that you mentioned, and I think nothing is better than really talking about really where do you get traction. Then I think the use cases are actually quite well defined when you think about, for example, manufacturing. We've been working on algorithms and AI-based algorithms for quite some time, but I think now with Gen AI, cases like condition-based monitoring. So let's say you have an heavy high value asset like a windmill or a machine that you can now monitor and stream data through condition-based monitoring. So you understand anomalies, and your Gen AI-based algorithms can figure out how to maintain this equipment to the best possible way to reduce downtime, to increase efficiency, output, productivity. That's one aspect of it, right? The second aspect, which is even more exciting, is Gen AI can help you feed a lot of that data into your design. So how do you use something that's in motion, capture the data from there to then, kind of almost stream innovation into your product? That's quite exciting because, the cycle of product innovation is actually quite extended because you've got to see the failures, you've got to understand. Now you're observing things in motion. So that I think is a really good example of how Gen AI and AI is helping. I think the other one is, maybe take the financial services industry, take banking. Think about chatbots, think about how the whole focus comes on leveraging data to increase, improve, enhance, enrich the engagement with your clients. Think about if you're having a conversation with a customer around a mortgage or insurance or whatever. If you can enrich the way an agent can speak with the customer, make it more personal, more customized. So it's all online, interactive. So generative AI can really help your agent to have that kind of conversation. So those are, I think, good examples of where Gen AI have true practical use cases that deliver benefits today,
Yeah, I could not have agreed more with you, Sanjay. I mean, these days, I can hardly tell if I'm speaking to a bot or a human when I make a call, right? And then I actually witnessed this digital twin at the Innovation Lab Hub the other day. So it's fascinating to see how generative AI can increase automation, improve efficiency, enhance the real-time decision-making. What are the potential risks and challenges of using generative AI, and how can business leaders ensure AI is being used responsibly and thoughtfully across the enterprise?
Yeah, look, I mean, Helen, I think every tech has challenges, and in every innovation will always bring certain level of unknown territory, or let's say some sort of risk that one has to get their heads around. But I think some of the most important, I guess, risks or challenges are really around misinformation. I think lack of transparency, possibly some things around plagiarism and copyright infringement, perhaps harmful content coming out without being controlled. And I think one has to put all of this in context to people, to the impact on business, to the people, impact on our culture, to the impact on our integrity, our ethics, And I think those are, to me, I think, areas where there are inherent risks. And it's not to, I guess, say that we shouldn't leverage technology. Absolutely, we must leverage. I'm a firm believer. We have to, the train has left the station, Helen. We're going to leverage this technology, but I think there are things we can do to do that in a responsible and, of course, protect our people and our businesses.
Yeah, I agree with you. Blocking people from using the technology because of the risk is not an option anymore, right? The train has already left. I do agree with you. The ethical consideration, data privacy, or bias mitigation, all these are really important factors. So that's why, as a CEO or leader, we have to make sure those are taken into consideration. Speaking of that, from a CEO perspective, what are the considerations should business leaders keep in mind when incorporating generative AI into their overall business strategy?
Yeah, and I think that's a great one, Helen, because I think everything starts with almost in some ways education, right? I think CEOs and leaders have a responsibility to educate their teams, their organization. And we're spending a lot of time in Software AG, and I'm asking my leaders to really bring people into small groups and talk about Gen AI, talk about what does it do, how does it create opportunities, as well as what are the risks, well, how do we need to manage. So I think the first part is really about education and preparing organizations from a culture point of view, from a change point of view. Well, how is this going to impact us? I think that's one. And then I think the second thing really is around thinking about the data, and the data that we use Gen AI with on. So there's zero-based data, then there is first source data, there is your own, because Gen AI has got a data pool that it's going to tap into so ChatGPT, if you ask ChatGPT, for example, there's a data pool that it's falling into. Now you enrich that with your own company data. So that's number one. And number two is, what kind of checks can you put in place? So for example, test. Obviously, that is one thing. The other thing is, having humans in the loop, having a loop that allows you to gain confidence. Where when you're leveraging Gen AI, the output, the results, or the information, and the use of that information is something that can be relied upon. So I think there are some things around, veracity, sovereignty, which we need to pay good attention to, and we need to create enough mechanisms that allow us to gain confidence. And I think, I just tell you example. Think about it. If you use Gen AI on something that's not mission critical, and even if you make a mistake, no problems. You can learn from that mistake. Great. Go ahead, leverage, experiment. But you wouldn't apply Gen AI to a life or death decision without knowing how that's going to happen, how that's going to. So it's just also weighing out for an organization, where can you apply Gen AI straight away and you can start experimenting, to where, you got life and death or really serious mission critical situations and you need to test, expose data, gain that level of confidence, I would say.
I actually love what you just said, Sanjay. You mentioned a few very critical points, right? Culture of learning is one. Two is having human in the loop. And then testing, right? And as a CEO, having the mindset to allow your employees or leaders to
Absolutely.
go test and then make mistakes, and creating that safer environment is so critical. So speaking of that, how has Software AG leveraged generative AI so far?
Yeah. Look, I mean, we are firm believers that this is going to really help, how we deliver value to our clients. And the way we've already built in generative AI into our capabilities. So as we are into the application data integration space. We're helping our clients really move data in a frictionless way across their entire landscape, but then bring that data into areas like cloud data warehouses like Snowflake, for example, and then apply APIs to really, kind of access this. Now, the way we leverage GenAI is we are able to automate integration. We're able to make it more intuitive. We're able to use voice-enabled interfaces where our customers, our clients can actually say what they want to do. Hey, we want to get data from this system, that system. We want to bring that together. We want to be able to offer that to our business through these kind of APIs, etc. So this is the way we help automate, make it simpler, make it more intuitive, and also, I guess in some ways, kind of let the business become so they are independent. They can actually leverage this technology without depending on too many data scientists. If the world has to depend on data scientists, then we're all in trouble because they're all being hired by Google and Microsoft, right? So I think that's another way to look at it, right? How do you democratize sophisticated data analytics? This is a great way to do it, and we are right in the middle of it.
That's amazing. I've been talking about that for years, right? It's nice to voice activate what I want to do, and then so let the system do it for you. It's just important, right? And, there are two schools of thoughts today, obviously, and then data security and explainability are mentioned often as important factors in the partnership between software AG and Aleph Alpha. How should business leaders address these concerns when implementing generative AI solutions in their organizations? Is this more important for large and global organizations?
I think veracity, data sovereignty, these are things that are universal, Helen. I don't think it's, whether you're a large organization or a small organization. I think protecting data rights and respecting the privacy is just absolutely critical as we go about leveraging. And Europe, we've been working on this for a long time. We have GDPR, it's sort of almost like the gold standard of how do you think through. And I know Europe is still working on how to be able to deal with Gen AI tapping into data. So I think we have learned a lot here. I think what's really important is there needs to be regulation. I do believe in that. But I also believe that it shouldn't be to the extent where it is stifling innovation and it's actually preventing organizations from being able to tap into innovation. I think, Helen, we will find a good balance. We will get to a point where organizations understand their responsibility and what they have to respect, while at the same time, how do they use the data and create value for their clients. So I think we're going through that process and that will happen. I just think it's very important for leaders, CEOs, CXOs to inform themselves very well, to really understand the implications, to understand, what is the source of the data, what is the sovereignty of the data, what are the infringement risks that they have to be careful about, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those are the things that are important for execs.
Yeah, I echo what you just said, Sanjay. I mean, having that visibility or understanding where exactly you are at is really critical. I was actually talking to another CEO the other day. He did not know that there was a setting you can, in ChatGPT, you can turn off so that the data you share with ChatGPT won't be shared in the vast world. So that's being said, not everybody is aware of that, and just really educating people, allow them to understand what data can be protected versus not being protected, how to use it is really critical. We all know, right? Change is inevitable. And growth is a choice. But as a CEO, how would you evaluate the ROI of integrating generative AI into your organization's operations? What metrics or indicators would you consider?
Helen, I would say often the temptation is to jump to financial metrics, So, what's your return, what's the payback period, et cetera. And I think those are very important. Of course, don't get me wrong, but I think it's even more important to view this from a lens of customer and the value to your customers. Mm-hmm. And for me, everything starts from there, right? I mean, what value can I create for my customers leveraging Gen AI? And is that value going to translate into customer satisfaction, net retention rate, NRR? Is that going to translate into resell, upsell, cross-sell, and hence grow my business? Great. I know that even if I can't financially 100% put it down to, I know that that's right for the business and I'm going to do it because it's right for my business and for my customers. The second way to look at it is, of course, your employees. What does Gen AI do for my employees? Is it going to make it easier for my employees to deliver value to my clients? Is it going to make them more enriched in their experience at Software AG? So can I create a great environment to attract talent? Because it's not easy to attract talent. I mean, we are all in the war for talent. So what does it do really to create a great environment in Software AG? Does it help me with my productivity? Does it help me with my reuse? Does it reduce waste? So those are the kind of things that I also would look at from an employee lens, in an employee value proposition kind of way. And so that's that. And then, of course, the way to, of course, all of that has to manifest is in financial metrics, no doubt. But the financial metrics are the outcome of those impacts, not the other way around, right? And so if CEOs start saying, hey, Gen AI needs to deliver me 2x on this and that I think is the wrong way to go about it. I think we need to look at how does it improve our customer impact at the customer and employee facing.
Yeah, playing that long game is so critical, right?
Yeah.
Especially as a CEO, balancing the needs between customers and employees, that's just crucial. Thank you for sharing that perspective.
Sure.
I can talk to you for another hour, but knowing that as a CEO, you have so much on your agenda. So here comes our last question. What advice would you give to other CEOs who want to leverage generative AI to accelerate their digital transformation journeys?
Hey, I mean, look, with all humility, I think the first advice I would give to every CEO is we're all learning. So I think it's really important for CEOs to it's almost in some ways to really expose themselves a bit, to demonstrate that we don't know it. And that's the way you create a great curiosity in the organization when you participate in the learning process, right? Rather than giving a mission to people to go and do something, I think CEOs need to demonstrate vulnerability. That's number one. And I think the second thing I would say is demonstrate the excitement. I am so excited about Gen AI because I think the opportunities are unlimited, right? So I think that excitement needs to come from the leaders. We need to demonstrate not caution, worry, and so much concern, but the excitement and the opportunity. And then with that, create a good way to build in risk management, safety, etc. So I think we need to play the balancing act to allow our organizations to explore, experiment, and to tap in. Because once people understand what the opportunities are, I think you don't have to push people. I think the excitement is enough to really get people going. And then I think we should just create enough mechanisms to allow people to drive innovation.
Wow, profound statement there, right? So Sanjay, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. Here are a few key takeaways from our conversation today. You mentioned about the importance of creating that culture of learning, culture of curiosity. That's really crucial, right, for CEO to lead the way in creating that culture. And then the excitement from the senior leadership is very important, especially when it comes to emerging technology like generative AI. I know, Software AG constantly really leverage the AI platform to, especially generative AI connectors to speed up testing, automates connections between systems, and provides tools for transparent data integration. Stream sets and webmasters, all those are platforms that enable line of business users to create integrations based on natural language inputs, increase the number of supported connectors and significantly reducing integration time. So thank you for what you do and really appreciate the effort of innovation. I think I want to mention about evaluating how, as a CEO, you look at the benefits of generative AI. You just, really have to take a holistic approach. You mentioned a human-centered approach, having human in the loop. The value, start with customer value. What customer value you want to bring, leveraging the technology, but also you mentioned about how you want to enrich the employee experience. So balancing the two, of course, will manifest the financial results as an outcome. So those are super important. And thank you so much for simplifying the connected world. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Stay hungry, stay bold, and stay grateful.